make it a habit to check your credit report as much as you do your bank account when you're about to go make a purchase that you don't need to make. Okay, next. That was so unnecessary, but not really. And if you carry balances, you know, the interest is going to be through the roof. You make the minimum, you'll be making the minimum until dinosaurs come back to Earth. Oops. And like I said, missing a payment can cause your score to drop at least 100 points. Okay, and if you looking at Credit Karma, you're going to drop 300 points. Okay, so don't look at Credit Karma, all right? I have not been absent for a month. Not me. But I'm back. So welcome back to another video, okay? So as you guys can tell by the title of the video, we are going to be talking about some credit tips for 2024, okay? So I will say this, like I've said like in previous videos, that when it comes to like credit and boosting your score and, you know, just trying to maximize on all the points you can get so that you can have a higher credit score, it's very simple things that need to be done. It's just that you have to continue to do the simple things over and over again. It's not like you do it once and then that's it. This is something that you have to continue to do monthly. Like, it has to become a habit for you. It has to become a ritual. Like, this is just something that it's just the way it is. Anyways, let's get into these tips here. But yeah, so number one obviously would just be to check your credit reports. And a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people have they are under the impression that if they check their credit score, that it's going to drop their score, when that's not the truth, like at all. You can check your credit score as much as you need to, and you will never see any negative implications to your credit score, like whatsoever. You can check your credit score as often as you need to, and I actually recommend you do it at least twice a month. You know, unless you're a habitual checker and you do it every single day because you just want to stay on top of it. But checking your credit reports is like the main thing, because that's how you notice whether or not accounts are popping up on your account that don't belong to you. If, you know, inaccurate information has been reported from a creditor, such as a late payment, which can drop your score a good 50, 60, 100 points. And you know, it can take you about 10 on-time payments, 10 to 12 on-time payments for you to recoup the points you lost just off one missed payment. So you definitely want to be mindful of what's on your credit report. So make it a habit to check your credit report as much as you do your bank account when you're about to go make a purchase that you don't need to make. Okay, next. That was so unnecessary, but not really. Become an authorized user. Call your aunt, call your uncle, your mom, grandparents, somebody in your family who's seasoned, who has, you know, a decent amount of credit age established. They actually, you know, live, even if they live within their means or below their means, like they're good with money and they don't make late payments. Why as soon as I start to record my video, now these people want to start working outside? Like, why are you outside my window? Okay, but anyways, becoming an authorized user on someone's account that is older will be very beneficial to you. It's called piggybacking, but this is a little hack, okay, to lower your utilization or establish some credit if you don't have any. Just be like, I don't need your credit card. I just would like to be an authorized user just so I can reap the benefits for at least 6 months. You know what I mean? Like, have a deadline just in case you got a stickler who's like, I don't know about that. You know, just come to them with a plan. Like, I just need about 6 months to a year to establish some payment history so that I can get approved for a credit card, or I can get approved for an apartment, or whatever the case may be. All right. Number 3 is dispute inaccuracies. And this goes in hand with number 1, checking your credit reports. That's how you will know if inaccurate information is reporting. You obviously have to know what's on your report, but disputing inaccuracies, which means like you're either sending a letter to the credit bureaus or directly to the creditor. All right, so pay your bills on time. I know you guys are thinking like, well, duh, but you'd be shocked how many people don't, okay? They don't pay their bills on time, all right? And then they wonder why their score dropped 16 million points. Well, it's because you just missed, your credit card payment. You missed your car payment. Like, you missed something and it was reported. Okay, and like I said, missing a payment can cause your scores to drop at least 100 points. Okay, and if you looking at Credit Karma, your shit gonna drop 300 points. Okay, so don't look at Credit Karma. All right. Increase your credit limits. So you can increase your credit limits a couple of ways. Like, you ask the company directly, if you can get a credit limit increase, or there is like a hack where if you consistently use close to your limit each month, but you're paying your card off within that same cycle, that if this card is eligible to be, to get higher limits, because some cards are just not eligible for that. Like, no matter how much you try this, it's not gonna work, just because they just don't typically give higher limits. And that's what some Capital One, like, builder cards, no matter what you do, you're gonna have that same limit, and that's super frustrating. But if you use like majority of your credit card and then pay it off within that same billing cycle, a lot of times the company will just go ahead and initiate a credit limit increase without you even having to ask, because they see that you're using the card, like you're actually maximizing on using the card, but you're paying it back too. So you have to show that you have no issue with using the card and paying it, because the main thing with credit card companies is they don't want to feel like you need the money. So if you've been carrying balances for months, you may not have the same amount of the percentage of getting your credit limit increase as someone who doesn't carry balances, because you appear to be more of a risk to that credit card issuer. So this may not work for you. You may have to just get those balances down, but then consistently keep it that way for a while before you do the whole maxing it out thing, because you've been maxing it out, but you haven't been paying it back. So you've created a pattern, and your profile may be labeled as risky. All right, so next will just be paying off any debt you have, like any, let's say, closed accounts that have a balance or a charge off that's on your credit report that still has a balance. That's with the creditor, the original creditor. I would offer a pay for deletion. Like, you don't just want to settle the account because you don't want that account lingering around, but if you could do a pay for deletion, I would highly advise you do that. And this works better when the account is still with the original creditor, because they do have the power to remove the account from your credit profile. No matter how many times they may tell you they don't, they actually can if they want to. They don't have a policy that states we accept pay for deletion and we will, but as a courtesy, they can do that for you, despite them saying, no, we don't do that. Because the truth of the matter is there is no policy, but it's not about policy. It's just we're seeking a courtesy. Okay, so keep that in mind. Keeping your credit utilization low. Like I said before, there's several credit builder loans out there, credit builder cards out there, like Self, Kickoff, Credit Strong, like I said. And I'll make a video on some really good apps that you can use to boost your credit score. But until you get to a point where you can make more than the minimum and you can consistently keep your credit score low, then those credit builder accounts will help you. So I would just highly advise looking into that. Like, as you guys can see all up and down my page, like I talk about Kickoff a lot. Like, I mean, it's just because I use them actively, but their ultimate plan, which is the $3,500 credit line that they have, where you pay $30 a month, I believe, or $30. Is it $30 or $35? I always forget because I'm so out of sight, out of mind with Kickoff. Like, I just got it set on auto pay and I don't even care. But it's one of those $30 or $35 a month that you're paying to have $3,500 report each month. And that is just consistently helping me keep my utilization low when I have months that I have to use my credit cards more than I intend to, and it takes me a little longer to pay it back down. So definitely check out my other videos for credit builder accounts, okay? Use your credit cards responsibly. Like, if you know that you don't have whatever you're about to use on your credit card in your checking account, just don't use your credit card, okay? Like, and I know we get tempted sometimes to swipe anyway because it's there, and we have the mindset that I'm going to pay it back, but things happen, and then there are times where you feel like you're going to be able to pay it back, and then something happens where the funds that you thought were going to be allocated towards that credit card bill, you now have to use towards some type of emergency that popped up in your life. And y'all know that happens more often than we like to admit. But be mindful of how often you're using your credit cards, and just as a rule of thumb, if you don't have it in your checking account, don't swipe your credit card, okay? Because you're just gonna make things worse for yourself, okay? And it never gets easier once you start getting in credit card debt. Okay, apply for new credit cards sparingly. Like, I know you're tempted to just apply for every card that's offered to you, you know, and accept the offers, but be mindful of annual fees and interest rates before you're just accepting these cards, especially from these predatory companies like, should I say that? I ain't gonna say that. I'm not gonna say the names, but there are some companies out there that just prey on people with lower credit, and you'll mess around and get some shit thrown your way. Like, you'll end up having a card that really has horrible APR. And if you carry balances, you know, the interest is going to be through the roof. You make the minimum, you'll be making the minimum until dinosaurs come back to fucking Earth. Oops, to Earth. Okay, let me stop cussing. But yeah, if you think you're just going to be making a minimum payment on a high interest credit card and you're going to be getting somewhere, think again. Okay, so be mindful of the cards you accept, and start using. Read about what that card entails. Are the benefits worth the annual fee? And if the answer is no, don't get that card. And if the card can graduate and you're new to credit, don't get that card, because there's so many cards out there that start off secure but do have the possibility of graduating. So just be mindful before you accept the offer or apply for a card. Keep your old accounts open. Credit age is such a powerful factor in your credit score. It may not be as big as payment history and credit utilization, but it's still as important as those. So just make sure you're keeping your oldest accounts open. For a lot of people, your oldest account would be student loans, and as long as they're not reporting negatively, I see no need for you to try to get those removed or close them, or whatever the case may be. If you have a credit card that you just don't use and it don't have an annual fee, there's no point in closing it. But, you know, I do understand in certain situations you have that card that is old, that does have the annual fee that you're getting sick of, and then under them circumstances, it's like, I understand, close. But if we're just strategically thinking about improving credit score, then closing accounts, it's just not a smart thing to do, especially if your other accounts have balances on them. Okay, so other options for those of you who may need payments reporting would be like having your rent or utilities reported to your credit report. That will help short term. I wouldn't advise you do that long term, but it is something that can help you establish, you know, payment history on your credit profile. Especially if you're a person who's good about making your rent payments on time and, you know, your utilities and things like that. I would take advantage of that, but it's not something that I would do long term. This is just like short term. Okay. Just be mindful about when you're getting credit cards to not bite off more than you could chew, because I know we all go into things with good intentions and we have these plans on, you know, doing right by our credit cards. We never go into things expecting to fail or to do bad, or, you know what I mean? Especially when it comes to our finances and our credit. But things happen, you know what I mean? And sometimes you can get a little overwhelmed with credit card debt. And I swear, once you get in it, it is so hard to get out, especially if money is an issue for you, you know? So, and you're only making enough to pay the bills that you do have, so you don't really have much to put towards your credit card balances aside from the minimum. So just be mindful of that. But these are things that you guys have to get used to doing over and over again. Like, you have to make it habit. Like, you got to do it over and over again. You know, these aren't things that you can not do. Like, these are things you have to do in order to maintain good credit, to establish credit, to build credit. Like, you have to do these things. Like, they have to become habit for you guys in order for you to see improvement in your score or to just establish credit, period. All right, so if you do have any questions, leave a comment below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.